Itua stood up, her face expressionless, but her eyes glowed with a quiet intensity. "He will live," she said simply, her voice barely above a whisper. "But he must be given rest and proper care." The news of the child's recovery spread like wildfire through the kingdom. For some, it was a sign that perhaps the gods had truly chosen Itua. For others, it was a mere coincidence, a stroke of luck that did not make her worthy of the crown. But regardless of their opinions, the first trial had been passed. 2 days later, the council gathered to announce the second trial. I had expected it to be a test of strength or courage, something physical that would prove her fortitude. But the elders had something else in mind. "The land has been dry for many months," Chief Oseji declared to the gathered crowd. "The rivers are low, and the crops suffer. Your second trial, Itua, is to find water in this season of drought. Without water, the kingdom cannot prosper, and without prosperity, you cannot be queen." Itua nodded silently. It was a daunting task. The drought had gripped the land for nearly a year, and all known sources of water had been stretched thin. The kingdom's wells were drying up, and the crops were withering in the fields. Finding water was not just a test, it was a desperate necessity. Armed with nothing but a simple staff and her knowledge of the land, Itua set out into the forest. I followed her from a distance, tasked with observing her journey to report back to the court. The forest was dense, the air humid and thick with the scent of earth and foliage. The ground beneath our feet was cracked and dry, a stark reminder of the severity of the drought. Days turned into nights as we wandered deeper into the wilderness. I watched as Itua moved through the forest with an unspoken understanding of its secrets. She studied the plants, touched the bark of trees, and tasted the soil, her eyes always searching for signs of water. On the third day, I began to lose hope. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the forest seemed endless. We had found nothing but dry stream beds and brittle leaves. I could see the strain on Itua's face. Though she refused to slow her pace, her determination was palpable, a force that kept her moving forward even when all seemed lost. It was on the seventh day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, that something changed. Itua paused beside a cluster of withered ferns, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the area. "Here," she murmured, kneeling down to touch the ground. I approached cautiously, unsure of what she had found. She raised her staff and struck the earth 3 times, then began to dig with her hands. At first, there was only dust and dry soil, but then, a small trickle of moisture appeared, followed by a steady flow of water. I gasped, my heart racing. She had found an underground spring, hidden beneath layers of dry earth. The water, though not much at first, began to pool in the small hole she had dug, clear and cool to the touch. Itua cupped her hands, lifting the water to her lips before offering some to me. "We have found what we need," she said, her voice steady but filled with an unspoken relief. We returned to the kingdom carrying the news of Itua's discovery. The people were astonished, and for the first time, I saw a shift in their perception. The water from the spring, once unearthed, flowed into the wells and streams, replenishing the kingdom's supply. It was a sign, many believed, that the gods truly favored Itua. As Itua prepared for the third and final trial, unrest began to spread through the kingdom. Not everyone was willing to accept her rise to power. Efua, the chief's daughter, had grown bitter and angry. She had been the favored candidate for queen, and Itua's unexpected emergence had turned her dreams to ashes. With every trial Itua passed, Efua's resentment deepened. It was during this time that the elders convened to determine the final trial. They decided that Itua must prove her ability to unite the kingdom, to bring peace where there was discord. For the kingdom had been divided by internal disputes among the clans. and the queen's role was to be the bridge that brought all together. The final trial, Chief Oseji announced, shall be one of unity. The clans have quarreled for generations. You must bring them together in a gathering of peace. If you succeed, you will be crowned queen. Itua listened, her face calm but thoughtful. She knew that this trial would not be easy. It required more than skill or strength. It required a heart that could reach others, a spirit that could touch the souls of those who had long been divided. The clans were summoned to the sacred grove, a place hallowed by the gods and respected by all. I stood among the crowd as they gathered, feeling the tension crackle in the air. The chiefs, each representing a different faction, glared at one another, their expressions hard and unyielding. Itua stepped into the center of the grove, her slender figure seemingly dwarfed by the grandeur of the ancient trees that surrounded us. She raised her hands, calling for silence. We are all children of this land, she began, her voice carrying through the grove with a resonance that demanded attention. The gods do not favor one over the other based on beauty, wealth, or power. They favor unity, for only through unity can we prosper. Her words hung in the air, a simple truth that cut through the pride and bitterness that had long divided the clans. She spoke of the land, of its beauty and its fragility. She reminded them of the drought they had survived, the trials they had faced, and how the gods had shown them a new path. One by one, the chiefs began to lower their heads. It was a slow process, a breaking of old habits and grudges. But as they listened, something softened in their eyes. The people, too, began to murmur in agreement. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I witnessed the impossible unfold before me. Then, as if in response to Itua's words, the earth trembled once more. But this time, it was not a tremor of warning. It was a rumble of affirmation. The ground seemed to pulse with life, and from the heart of the grove, a faint mist began to rise, filling the air with the scent of blossoms and rain. The gods have spoken, the high priest declared, stepping forward. They have accepted Itua as our queen. The people erupted into cheers, their voices mingling with the rustle of the leaves above. For the first time, I saw Itua smile, a quiet, serene smile that spoke of relief, joy, and a new beginning. But not everyone shared in the celebration. From the edge of the grove, I caught a glimpse of Efua, her face twisted with anger and betrayal.